balls. Bring enough feet to make they I came to kill them all. Similes, syllables, killing beats, syllabars. Fake fans still in awe, still a floor. Stash it at the top of watch the ceiling fall. Was married to the game and we got divorced, but I'm still involved. Still a skill evolves of the revolutionary on whom the culture still revolves. Blast like when still revolves. Bring enough feet to make they I came to kill them all. Similes, syllables, killing beats, syllabars. Fake fans still in awe, still a floor. Stash it at the top of watch the ceiling fall. Was married to the game and we got divorced, but I'm still involved. Still a skill evolves of the revolutionary on whom the culture still revolves. Blast like when still revolves. Bring enough feet to make they I came to kill them all. Similes, syllables, killing beats, syllabars. Fake fans still in awe, still a floor. Stash it at the top of watch the ceiling fall. Was married to the game and we got divorced, but I'm still involved. Still a skill evolves of the revolutionary on whom the culture still revolves. Blast like when still revolves. Bring enough feet to make they I came to kill them all.
Before Africa can see some massive success, eventually we have finally got that success. People like Davido, people like Wizkid, people like Burna Boy. Hey, they're bringing back awards. Even here in Uganda, we have our own Eddie Kenzo bringing back some awards. Yeah. The big question though is, where is the music industry going? What are the trends? What is going on in the music industry today? Is it a real business? Can a kid out in Kasubi wake up today and say, my passion is music, and can they really make money out of it? Those are the big questions we're going to tackle today, and I have some amazing guests that we're going to sit down and talk about all these different things. My name is Kenzo Daniels, and this is the State of the Culture. Welcome. Guys. Yeah. Welcome. Well, first of all, we have an amazing group of guys here, young men. Even though I see some little grays. I see some little grays. It doesn't matter. Well, I try to mix it up a little bit. Okay. So we have an amazing panel today. I'll start with a guy that I have known for such a long time. His name is Shadrach Kutesa, and this guy has done so much for this industry. In fact, if you guys know people like Keiko, if you've heard of what's his name? GNL. Yeah. Well, he's the man. He had the hip hop canvas, but that's not where I met him, by the way. He was a tattoo artist as well, and now he's a born again Christian. So I have to be careful with my language. Welcome, brother. And next we have Baba Luku, who obviously everybody knows, the king of Luga Flow. He started this genre. Some people might come and attack me because, hey, they might say, well, we're not sure about that. But he has done so much, a community, a change agent, and a community person that works so much with young people. I'm happy to have you here today, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Excited to be here, man.
Listen, guys, before we get into it, can we please talk about the legacy of the great DMX? We lost this brother recently.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. We lost this brother recently, and it was sad because I have been at many concerts, but the one concert that I had never been to was the DMX concert. I was really looking forward to a DMX concert. In fact, some people had told me, maybe we should bring DMX to Uganda. I was like, yes! And somebody told me, no, don't do it. He will not show up. He will not show up. But Shadrach, how do you remember DMX?
Oh man, of course, being Memphis, being hip hop, so the people, by the time I got into really loving hip hop,
yes,
apart from the legendary people who contributed like way back, like people I looked up like Russell Simmons, who what they did, the LL Cool J and all that.
Yes.
But at the time when I was really getting into the industry, DMX was the man.
Yeah.
He was the man. So there was a lot of influence, from him as a person. But I liked his, it was pure. It was pure.
Yes.
Everything about it was real. It was not an artist who was into maybe putting a Rolls Royce or the bling bling, all that. He had a pure heart. And anyone who has that kind of humanity definitely impacts you, man.
Yes.
So that's what I can say about him, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Baba?
I mean, being in the culture and growing up in it and also being an MC,
Yes.
I think it's really a beautiful thing when you see what people can do regardless of the state they're in.
Right.
You know, so I think like he embodied God within him.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, in a way that, you know, if you really question the gift,
Yes.
DMX is a great example never to question the gift.
Exactly.
Because he lived, he made his mark,
Yes.
regardless of his struggles on a
Oh,
day-to-day
yeah.
with life.
Yes.
The gift excellently was his
Absolutely.
guiding compass.
Exactly.
And he's been able to keep his friends close, he's been able to keep his intact close. Like even when you want to say something negative,
Right.
his gift shields him.
Right.
Because he embodied and illuminated something that was greater than what people can actually judge, which is the God within, you know?
Absolutely.
And that's why hip hop culture gives us the opportunity to expose to the universe. And I hopefully, you know, we're in Uganda now, that artists could learn about that.
Exactly. Well, I mean, for me, DMX was definitely one of those guys that that I had to, I prayed for, because I knew that he had his own demons, you know, in Jaga, you know, a horrible thing. But eventually, you know, somehow life is that, you know, you live it and you lose it.
Yeah, amazingly, to be honest with you, I got to know him, the real him, after the death.
Really?
You know, yeah, you know, I mean, like, you know, of course I knew that he makes the hits, the beat, you know, the
Yes.
Rough Riders and all that, you know.
Yes.
But now, a lot came out after. You know?
Right.
You know, a lot of, you know, like his spirit, you know, spiritual part of it, loving the community, you know, being real, hanging with the community, because he never really tried to be, okay, live a high life, you understand? So all that, even what people talked about him, you know, the relatives, the other rappers, I
Yes.
was like, oh my God, he had
Yes.
such a big heart.
Yes.
Because normally there's a say about more gains, so basically, so yeah, but it's amazing. It's amazing. We lost a we lost a legend. We lost a
Exactly.
legend, yeah.
Well, that's about it with DMX. I want to jump into an incredible subject. And this subject is something that sometimes people, you know, overlook because they don't want to get into the nitty gritty of what this industry is about. This industry is really a business. And yes, a lot of us have the passion for it. You love to go to the studio one night, you're going to come to the studio to beach into what. But at the end of the day, it's part of our work. You know, this is what we love to do, and we need to make money out of it. So the big question is, can we really make money out of this industry? Is it a real business? Has it got the type of platforms that can ensure that if I'm 65 years old, citizen so the question for me is, Shadrach, what is the state of the business side of the music industry right now in Africa?
In Africa, in Uganda.
In Uganda.
Okay,
But
Uganda,
I think Uganda and Africa are not that different.
Oh, I mean, of course, now definitely. When talk about SA and Nigeria, those
True.
guys are doing it.
True.
So they're in Africa, but man, they're on the next level.
Okay, let's
So-
give it an African feel and then a Ugandan.
Ugandan.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course, on African level, yeah, we've seen clearly what is happening in SA, we've seen what's happening in Nigeria. I mean,
Yes.
Wizkid is collaborating with Beyonce.
Yes.
I mean, does it get bigger than Beyonce right now? You know, I mean, the industry. So that's an indication of what's
Yeah.
happening. And of course, for them now, they have the structures.
Yeah.
You know, they have the professionalism. They have they got their own identity.
Yeah.
You know, so they know that, okay, now, you know, because identity is key. Everywhere you go, musically, you have to have an identity. So for them, they work that out and they have something to sell. They have a
Yes.
product to sell, you know. But coming to Uganda, of course, definitely. I want to talk about, that's why I'm saying, like, okay, industry, music industry, yes, okay. But industry, the word industry, structures. You know, yeah, you know, and, yeah, exactly. Whenever you think about industry, I'm thinking about structures, and I'm trying to look at the structures.
How do our structures look like?
Yes, and of course, especially now during lockdown, everything was brought to the surface that guys cannot survive without being on stage.
Exactly.
You know, and clearly you have to identify that what are the where is that an artist and what are the income generating, you know, platforms for the artist?
Exactly.
And clearly number one always is going to be record sales.
Yeah.
You understand? It's going to be record sales. It's like when you are dealing in chicken, you know, in like, you know, if you are, there are those called layers. So you have to sell the eggs first before you eat the chicken.
Right.
You know, I understand, you know.
But let me ask you this:
yeah.
you've been in the structured part of the industry,
Yeah.
you know, where you're managing artists and stuff like that. Actually, you had your own label,
Yes.
Platinum Entertainment.
Yeah, sure.
How was that in terms of Were you guys making money? Were you guys selling records? How were you surviving?
Okay, with platinum, actually, the main thing, okay, what happened, the kind of arrangements we had, because normally when you say record label, still here in Uganda, that kind of doesn't sit in, really, you know,
right.
the way when you talk about, you know, the structures and this and that and that and that, we don't have that. But basically what we had was, I identify the talent.
Yes.
You know, I send the talent, and I tell you I'm going to invest in you, okay, and then you are going to percentage. But it means I'll pay for your studio, the audio production, I'll pay for the video, and then at the end of the day is when you go to when you have a performance, how much do I get and how much do you get?
Okay.
You know? So it wasn't more like it was normally what even a promoter could do. You understand? You know.
Yeah.
So I think there's a thing difference between a promoter and then the manager and then the local label in Uganda. But what we had, that's what we have. So I think the structures are still lacking. You know.
Yes.
So but for us, that's what we had, and definitely yes, having had the GNL was the first big commercial hip hop artist. Okay. The reason is in everything you try to do, when you try to solve a problem, okay, and then that's when you make money. So at that time, what happened is General came, and well, we created we bridged the gap between the guys who had the money, who want to spend,
yep,
and the actual culture.
Yeah.
Because and how we did, I realized even how we did is what speak to the people.
Yeah.
That's why even you look at the album, everything was more Ugandan. Koi people would relate with Koi.
Before I go to Baba, I want to ask you something though.
Yeah.
You had Keiko.
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of people will tell you
Yeah.
that Keiko at some point leaves Uganda, goes to South Africa,
Yeah.
gets signed.
Yeah.
What label was that?
Sony.
Was Sony.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then what happens after that is
Yeah.
her career starts actually sort of like slumping, going down.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Is that an example of a structure not actually working for Ugandan artists? Are Ugandan artists better off with the way the model that they have created, whereby I can go work with a manager, he has a little bit of money, he puts in money to my video, we pay a couple cats on radio, on TV to play my video, and then to touch tumble it out.
I think that's true, because when now she's got signed to Sony, so she was disconnected.
Yeah.
Every decision was made from that side. So you're in SA making a decision for a market where you don't know how it works. You understand? You're releasing a video, and for you, as long as it plays on MTV base and all that, those are things you're looking at because that's the level you are.
Right.
But the artist is an artist. You forget that it's from Uganda. You know, you forget that actually for her playing on NBS, on STV, on MTV is more important than her playing even on MTV base. You know. So also you realize the sound changed. Her sound changed.
Yeah.
You know, because for them also as the record label, they say now you're going to work with our producers.
Right.
But then whoever made it big, who are local Ugandan producers, sign me. Let me continue to work with my local producers. Let me try to be content for my market, you know, and then maybe that I can still be relevant. You understand, you know?
Wow.
So that you know, but also normally, and even you know, funny, even labels normally sign artists for different reasons, you know. And at no other time there was a bigger even artist in SA who had the same kind of identity and image as Keiko.
Yes.
And they will sign you, and then they'll try to put you down and try to push another one. Who they intend at that time to be, you know, because the record labels do that. So you have to understand, but also most importantly, the contract you sign.
Right.
So you get excited as a Ugandan, Sony calls you, you probably, even what you read, you don't understand. Because when you do their contracts, it takes someone who maybe so much was into entertainment law to see what they bury down there, you know. And if you don't follow it, you think you have a contract, but actual sense, it's not really working for you.
So maybe it still goes back to structures.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you don't have good management, if you don't have a good legal team, you know, you're
legal
going to,
team, very important.
You're
very
going to
important.
sign bad contracts.
Yeah.
Baba, speaking of those structures, can you work a lot with the young people in Uganda, you know, and it's very impressive what you do.
Yeah.
You know, I see you holding down the hip hop community in a way that many people are not doing. You're on the grassroots.
Yes.
You're picking up kids from where other people would not think to go, because everybody is thinking about, has this commercial way of looking at it. Mm-hmm. What do you need, you as Baba, to get this kid that you've just got from whether Katanga or somewhere down in the ghetto? What do you need in Uganda for this kid to become successful, to be able to make money? You know, what kind of structures are needed?
I think primarily when you look at Uganda and the arts in general,
yes,
there's an urgency of lack.
Yes.
In everything, you know? Yeah. And that urgency started first with lack of a place you can go to learn.
Yes.
Then it was lack of a recording studio.
Yes.
Lack of access to equipment. Lack of education in the field of that art that you want to practice. So that lack in itself had a lot of young people forging their way into the industry.
Right.
Without developing pure etiquette on how to deal with those journeys that they're embarking on.
Yeah.
But the excitement was I become famous, I become rich, someone will know me. Remember I said I become rich because, you know, becoming rich is not the ultimate, you know, the ultimate goal.
In Uganda it is.
You know, well, hey, you know, that's what they know. Once again, lack of information.
Right.
You know, so you see that in Uganda today, even when you want to accredit success to many of our creatives in their spaces,
Yes.
there's no representation in foundations as far as community is concerned.
Right.
You know, matter of fact, when you talk of community, they see charity. They don't think education of my art. You know, because, you know, me as Babaluku, I love hip hop. So yeah, as Babaluku, I should be working hard to ensure that there's a hip hop center of scholars and learners in the discipline.
Right.
As a guitarist, I should be working hard that there's guitar collective scholars for the guitarists. The same for the vocalists, the same for the drummers, the same for the, you know, orators or producers, you know, all of that.
Right.
It's something that we haven't grasped yet.
So what are you
find
telling
a community for?
What are you telling these young people? Like when you're working with them, is it pipe dreams?
We don't believe in pipe dreams because he mentioned something earlier. The biggest key to self-education is identity.
Okay.
So I don't want to shoot you a career when you're not identified.
Okay.
Yeah? So part of our big problem, we have artists, but they lack zero identity. That's why you could still debate, do we have a Ugandan sound or we don't? You know, you're still having these conversations because at the root of the idea, there was no identified source.
Right.
You know, to dip yourself in. So we see that Uganda still needs to engage in a conversation that identifies talent in its authentic way and gives it a platform to be nurtured. Not to fast forward it, because now our industry just fast forwards, eh?
Right.
Yakubye chiyimba chaka bitugende, chechiriko. Where has that landed us? In vulgarness, spreading among young people.
Right.
You try to get something from a song. Listen, my 10-year-old son or my daughter cannot even listen to the music that these young people are singing.
Right.
That's all misguided.
And to add on identity, you know, and having worked with Keiko, because what people most heard of Keiko was the English, but Keiko was Japadola. Do you know how sweet Japadola sound? For me, the best music we did, we never released, because it had more of that Japadola kind of, you know Angelica Joe, how she sounds?
Yes.
That's how Japadola sounds. I don't know if you be intentional. And I thought that now is identity. That's the sound maybe I thought would distinguish her from any other rapper from the African continent. But then, of course, the way we are definitely, we try to trash that down. You know.
So as a business manager for artists, do you feel like your hands are tied in terms of what your artist can do? Is there a limit under which an artist can actually work and become successful? For example, like, do they have to only sing in Luganda? For example, like, can they sing in Japadola and still have that success? I think there is a pop culture that has been built around lingo.
True.
You know, and behavior patterns as well. You have to behave in a certain way. You have to carry yourself in a certain way. You know, how's that work for you as a manager, as somebody who understands the business side of things?
Yeah, well, definitely. You know, in every when you look at the artists, you know, each artist is kind of like, you look at them as a product.
Right.
You have to know, okay, who I'm selling you to, what market, you know, and then that dedicates everything, how I package you, what language you singing, you know, and stuff like that. But also, maybe you also have a strategy. You have the long-term goals and short-term and what. And then, when you know, on the short-term, medium and what, short-term, okay, we're getting Ugandan market, we're getting the market in maybe downtown, you know. Definitely, you have to come and try to see everything has to identify with that kind of market in everything you put, you know. And short term, I say, why East Africa? Then definitely you become more intentional, and you see, like when actually through Hip Hop Canvas, try to do that, and then we'll take an anthem, and you know what happened with him and Joakali and all those guys were doing. No one did English. Babaluku did his Uganda. You know, Ewa did his Swahili. So is Joe Kali. But it was a big song. You know what? It was a big all over East Africa.
Yeah.
So I think also it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
You know, and also to know that what am I saying? I'm selling the art.
Yeah.
You have to, and also you have to know that also comes with patience.
Right.
Because at times you want to skip the process and get quick, you know, fame and quick that. So
Exactly.
you always get shortcuts.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, before you know, easy come, easy go. So definitely, you know.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's all about that. At times, because now you have the business part of it, but the art is cannot wait, you know. And they say, you know what? For me, this is what I want to do.
Right.
So at the end of the day, there's a conflict, you know, of interest. So at times, those are challenges we have. Yeah.
I want to switch it up a little bit, guys.
Yeah.
There is a conversation that has, and I've actually heard it on TV a couple times.
Yeah.
They're talking about intellectual property. You know, the government of Uganda actually passed a law, you know, protecting copyright.
Yeah.
So I think it's called the copyright law.
Copyright law. Yeah.
Now, just to give you guys a bit of people know I was part of Swahili Nation, and we were signed to Universal, and then was signed to BMG Publishing.
Okay.
You know,
As a
so
publisher.
so when we released our first song, I didn't even have to worry about our first performance. I was worried about how the song is doing on radio, you know, because at the end of the year, you would get that royalty. Okay?
Yes.
So, but also I was worried about paying back my advance.
Yes, I know.
Because I had spent some of that money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the question is, because Kenya has done it, okay? Kenya passed a copyright law and has actually tried to enforce it. Kenyan artists actually today make money without even having to go on stage. Now, one of the things that you were talking about, Shadrach, earlier was that the epidemic has exposed us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you find a guy who's so-called superstar. You know, because he's not performed for a long time. A lot of people want to get back on stage because they're losing money. What can we do as a group of older industry guys to make sure that our sources of money expand, and it's not just on stage, you know? Because now we have to worry about you know. So the promoter becomes super important in this whole game. But the fact is that my music should be able to sell. I should be on Spotify, I should be on iTunes, I should be on all those platforms selling music, and I should be able to bring the bread and butter back home. What do we need to do, Baba, to make sure that we are getting more money sources, you know, as artists?
I think self-education, you know, with a digital world, you know what I'm saying? It's good to understand what's out there to access, you know, for keeping your music alive. You know, especially when you think about from an independent perspective.
Yes.
You know, that as an independent creative or artist, you know, you look for the markets, the niches that are within your domain, and that you could start producing for. But before you produce also, the importance that due to the experience you've had in the industry, you're giving yourself the opportunity now to have a case study on the transition of the industry and where it's going. So that you have updated information on the moves you need to be making to fit in the technology advanced era of where we're going. Because see, when we stay in the traditional formula, because you mentioned earlier, that Ed, is it better for the artist in Uganda to keep on their format? Because that's how they've been eating. But in the long shot, you can see it's not better.
Now we're going to get back we'll get back from that. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to find out how exactly are we going to survive the next 5 years in the music industry in Uganda. That's a biggie. We'll be right back.
Lead syllables, killing beats, syllabars, fake fans, still in awe, still a floor, stash it at the top of watch the ceiling fall. Was married to the game and we got divorced, but I'm still involved. Still a skill evolves of the revolutionary on whom the culture still revolves. Blast like when still revolves. Bring enough feet to make that.
My two wonderful guests legends in the game
Salute,
about
salute.
about this thing, about this money-making part. Before we went to the break, Baba made some incredible points. Shadrach, that going back to making money, I think a lot of kids that might be watching today, a kid who is trying to make a career choice, you know, oba nkole chinga nkuze, oba ngende mu music, you know, they're good, you know, they've got houses. Bobby Wine is running for president, you know, so there is an allure, you know. If I really work hard, I might make some money, you know. But in general sense, it's very hard to make money in this industry, isn't it?
Yeah, it is hard. It is hard. It's hard. It's hard. And the main reason is because the way it worked at Community's time is not the way it's working right now. And I think the thing is, you know, you die the day stop growing. You know what I mean is like growing is just like being able to morph. Yeah, to know that now how are things working right now. Right. What worked for Bebe and Chameleons might not be working for me right now, and you have to be aware of that. So as you make the decision, you have to be very aware of the current trends. You know, how is it working right now? If I'm coming to business, am I going to earn when performing on stage, or do I focus on maybe growing? Maybe I'm going to earn on YouTube. Am I earning online? So those are things now you have to start, because actually, nothing's new under the sun. So even as you come, the people already setting the trends beyond here. Yes. You can see what Wiz is doing. You can see, you know. So now when you come, then your expectations have to manage them. Yeah. You have to be very sure, where am I making my money? You know, what am I doing? Yeah.
But let me ask you something, because in a way, it almost feels like we're putting too much of a chip on the upcoming artist. Because when you look at all the other markets, okay, if I'm an artist in, let's say, Sweden or in America or even Nigeria today, okay, it's very easy for me to just use my talent to lure in somebody who has big pockets, and they'll support me, they'll put me on. In America, they say, put me on, okay? So, who's putting who on here?
Of course, that's why that goes back, you know. So it becomes a hustle business. Yeah. Now that goes back to the industry, because first of all, apart from structures, what identifies the industry is the investors. Yes. So there's no industry where there's no investors.
Exactly.
You
know,
who
are the investors, man?
Because it's not like they don't want to invest, but it has to be safe for them. Because when you understand, you have to come and ensure. Because I think I was told one time that even Greenboard Entertainment that come to invest in the industry. You know, and I think they bought even Paul Kafo's album, but because of the structures and issues, they ended up going to street parking. You remember? So imagine Greenboard Entertainment. What's the entertainment going to do with parking? But they come in the industry. But because now protection, you know, are they protected? As an investor, I have to be protected. You know, every other structure, can I make sure, where do I make money? Can I make money? The issues of piracy and all that. So now it becomes a very tricky thing where the industry, in Nigeria, people can say, okay, they understand it. Rich guys are investing in the industry. Yes. Because they know they make their money back. Yes. And here, it's the other way around. You invest your money, you lose your money somehow. You know, the reason is even the person trying, because before even the individual, that I'm thinking, you know, is more about like a quick thing and I run, you know. It's about fame. Right. You know, it's not about, you know. So those things now make it so difficult to call a sente in industry. Yeah. Na kati nengo, of course, this ogamba kati industry Uganda elinga kubanti. It's so called zentandikwa. Let me use music to get this, and maybe I'll invest in something else. You understand?
But, the question is, actually, Baba, let me get to you on this one. I remember there was a gentleman who said, "Government, where are you?
Where are you?
You know, which goes down to the point is the industries in Uganda seem to really depend on government. Okay, a lot of people seem to think that government is the savior. That thing is very different in America. In America, it's the other way around. People want government out of their business. People don't want that. They don't want government. They want in Uganda, you know, anything you want to do, you have to go and see the head of state. Everything that you want to do, you have to go to the government. You have to see a minister. You have to see an MP, because government has been superficially empowered to control things that they should not even be controlling. You know, and so Baba, do we? but you know, right now it is what it is.
Yeah.
Government is a tukolerachi.
At the end of the day, you know, the government in its mandate, it's mandated to a community as a whole,
Yes.
or a nation as a whole. And the question would be, what safe spaces are they providing for this currency to grow?
Yes.
For young people to find value, find education, be prone to have the information about investment possibilities.
Yes.
Like, what is there?
Right.
You know, within the arts sector specifically. Because when you look at the arts sector, it's mainly neglected for one thing. People understand its power to transform. So who wants to transform an entire generation to be self-reliant?
Right.
Then what will they depend on?
Right.
Or what are you going to tell them when they're empowered to do for self and they don't need you in the space?
Right.
Just like you say in America, people want government out of the business because the entrepreneurs there are empowered to design,
Yeah, exactly.
to control their spaces. But out here you see that not a single person is in position to control a sphere that moves the arts.
Right.
Yeah,
You know?
And I think to add on that, of course, government in Uganda, they have a role to play. Right now, I can ask you, where does the music industry, where does the music sit?
Yeah.
And tell you it sits in the midst of gender, social, labor, development, culture,
I
and
have
what.
never understood that.
You understand? So now that's
understood
that's government. Now you
Yes.
see, you have to come and say, hey, government has to realize, okay, now can we have maybe a ministry of culture, and maybe creative arts as a ministry? And because also every year budget, the government does budgets for and allocate budgets for each sector.
Yes.
But now there's nothing that allocated to the industry.
Right.
You know, and you say, okay, because now when you do that, oh, you want to build maybe a home for music and everything, and then you know it's in your budget, and then you know your ministry will go and say, okay, it's our budget. You know,
A quick question actually to you.
Yeah.
So you see, during the campaign season or whatever, we know that some artists actually went and received quite a lot of money. In fact, one of the artists, Bebe, has even gone ahead and built a music studio. I hear he's got all types of equipment, you know, all because he's favored by government or whatever, you know. Do you think that's right? I mean, should that be a model? Because now we're looking at who are the stakeholders in this music industry, who is going to turn this music industry into an actual business model that works for everybody, that when I go in there, yes, I can actually make money, and even music artists can start putting money in NSSF. You know?
Yeah,
So-
sure. Definitely.
I wanted to write off what he was saying because it ties back into what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, the idea that the arts, the music, has no representation at the highest, you know, hierarchy, you know, leaves a misunderstanding of currency exchange.
Right.
How many concerts happen in our country? If the government or if anybody interested in the arts itself went ahead to do a research to figure out the billions that come out of entertainment, quickly our government will realize the contribution of the arts sector to the country already.
Right.
Yeah, actually,
Okay? I live in Vancouver, and Vancouver has creative BC art sector that has invested time into community dialogues and bringing people together after understanding how much money the arts was bringing to the city.
Yes.
And they literally thought that there was an injustice and that they needed to give back some of this money to the artists. Now, can that work in Uganda? We don't know due to the framework that's there. But these are some of the moves we need to be looking towards.
Right.
You know, when you talk about can Uganda have a cohesive body that's highly respected? You know, our respect in the industry is to draw us into a space where we can have a conversation.
Yes.
Ekkiriza abatuuze bonna abali mu kintu kino ekya arts ekyebitone okulaba value ate okugimanya n'okuzuula ssente mmeka eggwanga zeetwala okuva mu bivulu byabwe basobole otuula n'eggwanga abakiikira eggwanga bateese omugaati bagumenyemu bafune ekibaddizaako okuzimba industry gye baagala.
Kituufu ekyo kubanga during lockdown of course ngambye because many things have been awakened ebintu bingi bizukuse ne industry no ezukuka so of course engaging government so also government engaging and of course also we've seen the power of music during even the elections so nayo our government nefuna attention ngene kino kiki ekina amaanyi be kiti you know one in terms of people people are following, and two, but also, yes, promoters came back out, we lost money. We have a review to Sazamu. When they put in their files of all the events is already cancelled, you understand?
Exactly.
I know they're asking, okay, what's the industry?
Yeah.
For them, they thought music industry Then they, hey, what about promoter? Oh, they're managers. Hey, those people who do songwriting. The government had no idea about the industry.
Guys,
so
takes me to to this thing where we're trying to find out who are the stakeholders in the music industry.
Yeah.
Is the Ugandan model sustainable? What is the Ugandan industry going to look like 10 years from now? Can we still continue working in the way we have been working, or are we going to jump and go into a digital space where actually we can sell our music to Americans, to Canadians, to Egyptians, globally, What is our model? And is it working? And if it's not working, what do we need to do to get a cohesive industry that is sustainable and predictable? Baba.
Okay, fine. Okay.
I mean, foundationally, he mentioned it earlier, systems.
Yeah.
We
have 5 minutes, guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
we need the systems in place.
Yes.
That can assure that the disciplines necessary to now nurture these new thought patterns that we're adopting to advance us from our backsetting.
Yeah.
Because we have to acknowledge where we are. Like, no one is going over the glass ceiling. You in Uganda, you become an artist, you go high, and then you flatten on top.
Yes.
There's no jumping over into some higher level of greatness. But the idea is that, yes, we can change. Yes, we can evolve. Yes, the young generation is here.
Yes.
And we are here to have this conversation so the young generation can see that we can do different.
Right.
And we can adopt new practices that could advance and bring an industry to exist with disciplines that are honored not only by us, the practitioners, but also the government.
So where are we 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I mean, the gift is art. You know what I mean? It's going to be here regardless. It's up to us to ensure that we extract as much as we can before we exit the planet.
Shadrach.
Well, I think definitely art always going to be art, and it's going to be able to make money, so it's going to be better. I think the thing is now, government is paying attention. However, there are people who are placed in positions supposed to talk on our behalf, and they have no idea, what to talk about, So yet maybe the best thing that would have come, can we go down and consult, and get people like you, people like Baba, and then before we go to the government and say, I want to do this is where we want to go, we have an idea, but then already government has interest. But the people who they're reaching out to and those positions, oh my God, they have no, they don't have the right strategies, even in this industry. But anyway, there's much hope. There's much hope for the industry. The art is still art, as you said. And then at times you change. You can be in the condition, and you have to change with respect whether you want or not. We have come to that point that you just have to change. Right. Like it or not, understand, for you to move on and for you to be more relevant. So I think that's what has happened.
Another question. So you have artists like Eddie Kenzo who brought back awards. He brought back the BET Awards, and a lot of artists clamor for those awards. What do those mean in essence? I mean, do they bring value? Is winning an award an equitable thing that you can say that, I won an award, so
I think for a story of an individual, it's equitable, personally. For a community, it's questionable. Because what then after the award?
Okay.
It's important to see beyond the scope, because if we talk of individual success, I can sit there and show you these awards, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I have to reflect this success among the masses from which I extract my greatness, I share my art, and understand what impact is living, not only for showtime, but in real time. And I think that as artists in Uganda, we are not doing that a lot. We want to hoop, hey, they won this award. And now awards have become like hit singles in Uganda. And then they flaunt them around like it's the biggest thing that we need to be showing. What you need to be showing is the advancement of your country, your community, your people, your family, to ensure that your success has given others wings to fly. And that in that essence, you're creating a legacy that the young people could be able to follow. So, I always say that in Uganda, it's hard when it talks about success and artists, because our communities are still struggling.
I agree. Yeah, of course, it's good for the person. It's a motivational thing. You know that I'm doing something. I'm being recognized. Let me keep going. But of course, if you compare the winners from other countries, and look at their backgrounds and look what they're doing and the impact is different. You understand? By the time they get that award, it's something they add on, but they're really earning from this. They're supporting their families. They're paying education for their kids. They're doing that. So I think even for the industry also, it becomes more consistent. Maybe it's okay if there's consistency. Yes. But if there's one, then after 4 or 5 years, there's no impact. Then maybe even the industry is not growing because you have one in 5 years, and then you try to look for another one. Look at Nigeria. Now up to now they're in Grammys now. They're winning Grammys. You see the consistency.
Yes.
And now they recognize you.
Yes.
Because when you do that now, they say, hey, I think I need to collaborate with him.
Yes.
When I collaborate with him.
Another thing. Lastly, before we go, do you think Ugandan artists understand the business side of the industry? I mean, they understand the art side. Video, but do they understand the actual business side of things as we end this show tonight?
No, they don't.
Why?
Well, because that two kinds of maybe economies or something. There's one which is street driven. You have to understand the music industry in Uganda has a background of it's more like street business. It's kind of that kind of business. People it's like kind of quote more gangster kind of It's not like a professional kind of business.
Yes.
Like we do like this. You are your money. You do like this, then you pay your taxes. So I think why is you see all the people have come out from the big artists. Where they come from, they have the knowledge. That kind of operating the business that kind of way. Yes. So it's more like a street kind of thing. Mm-hmm. The music industry in Uganda is not, because of lack of structures, it's more like street. Mm-hmm. It's street. And when it is street, then the business element is kind of, compromised. So they know how to survive. Right. They just know how to survive.
So it's a survival.
It's a survival
industry.
It's a survival industry.
Okay.
Survival industry, yeah. That's why when you go back to Kenya, you can say, corporate is in place. Right. There's a home chilling, money is coming in. Right. Now that is the business. Minus that, then it becomes more of
well, what
a hassle.
What I hear is we still have a bit of a ways to go.
Yes.
Sounds like structures teziri shaky.
And there's a thing of thinking of just structures, but also the impersonators, the gatekeepers,
right,
who are going against the structures.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not that we don't have knowledgeable people who can disseminate the information.
Right.
But the traditional operative minds that are there
right.
are blocking this potential, these people who have the capacity to jump into a space because that's their bread.
Yeah.
So we are also running more so into the traditional conditioning of the political corruption narrative.
But let me ask you this, Baba. You are an artist. You come to me. I have money. You tell me that you need money for you to be able to put your first single out, for you to put your video out, for you to... What sureties do you give me that you're going to become successful, that we're going to be able to make money together, that I'm going to see some real returns on my investment? You see, a Ugandan artist doesn't really have a formula under which they can really structure their proposal to would-be, investor. They just think in terms of jaga video, jagala gundi. So how do you if it was you're managing an artist, you bring them to a person like me. I have the money, I have the capacity to do it. How do you challenge me to invest that money?
As a person, it's talent first. If I have been able to scout a talent and I'm going to present it, I'm ensuring that I have been able to already take training with the talent to ensure that I've tested the market and I see where they're flying.
Okay.
Before I even present them to a potential investor.
Right.
It's a mad scientist move. So if you want to win with it, you actually practice it on yourself.
Right.
By the time you go to brokerage it, you're given 110%. Wow. That level of confidence you can't lose. There is no investor that doesn't respect confidence.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mr. Shadrach, the manager, platinum entertainer.
Of course,
you have been there, you have done it. The guys have come, you've got GNL under your wings, you've got Keko under your wings. I mean, anyway, we're going to have to sign out, guys.
Listen,
Listen, it's been a great conversation today, and we've talked about the things that make this music industry work and the oil that it needs. Hopefully next week we can delve more into the talent aspects of it and find out who do we need to take Uganda to the next level and build platforms that we don't have right now. We'll catch you next week again, same time, 4 p.m. Don't miss it, STV, all the time, baby. Catch you later.
I came to kill them all, similes, syllables, killing beats, syllabars, fake fans, still in awe, still a flaw, stash it at the top of watch the ceiling fall, was married to the game and we got divorced, but I'm still involved, still a skill evolves of the revolutionary on whom the culture still revolves, blast like when still revolves.